Hello everyone and welcome back to the railroad base build here in Vault 88, and this is what we built last episode, the guns and ammo shop. I've decorated it since then. Well, not all the way, but mostly. There's a few little details to add, but what do you guys think? I'll put a sign on that board there. Yep, here we go. It's under the counter. Got a few things around here. I got some guns on the walls. Got a few big guns. Not the best guns. They were just what I happen to have looted recently, so they're not like awesome or anything. But they're what I had on hand. And of course I'm going to be putting some ammo on this shelf here, some ammo boxes, and something in this display case, probably some swords or something. So, and in here we have a little bit of a storage area. He's got lockers full of other guns and weapons and things. And then the guy will live up here. And I've decorated his whole house. This part up here is finished. It's just the gun shop down below is what I haven't finished yet. So he's got a little kitchen, a little place to eat, couch, a bit of storage, and of course a bed. And a little desk and shelf area. So yeah, that's where the guy lives. So today we are going to be building a different thing, of course. And today's build is going to be a little different. I'm not going to build a building per se, but I'm going to build it right here. And since this area, well, this area is a little bit difficult because it has this pile of debris here in the corner. And I can't scrap this debris, unfortunately. So I can't build anything like right on top of it. So I'm not going to put a traditional floor down right here. I'm going to build a roof over it. And, but yeah, because of the rubble there, I can't really put a floor in there, unless the floor was raised up above the rubble, but I don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to put a roof over it, and we're going to make sort of like, well, I guess like a market. Like an outdoor, not outdoor really, I mean, because we're in a cave, but open air, I guess you would say. Yeah, I'm just going to put a roof up here like this. I mean, obviously, I can't just stick it up there, but I have to glitch it up there. But I was just testing to see how it would look. So, I'm going to put it here. So, oh yeah, I need my stairs. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that I put a gate here. So, just sort of a gate that, you know, to keep people out if they get past all the other lines of defense that I'm going to have down the tunnels. There will be a gate, which will also be guarded eventually. But for now, it's just a gate. So we're just going to raise the roof up a little. Now I have some Q&A questions. You guys gave me some more, so thank you very much, and I will be reading those soon. I don't know if we'll get all of them read today, but we will have some for the next episode if I don't. So now I'm trying to get this lined up just right. It's got to be at a certain angle in order for it to look good and not poke out into the walkway. And I think right now it is poking out. It will poke out into the walkway if I add more roofs to it, which I should do, which I do. I do. Add some more roofs on because I want it to go across this whole section here. So, add a few more roofs. Yeah, like that. And then line it up better. Alright, well, how about I read the first question? Now, the first question is actually one I've answered before in probably one of my other builds. I might have actually answered it more than once before, but I'll answer it again since I know everyone doesn't watch all my videos. So the question is, which settlement that you made is your favorite and why? And to date, I think my favorite settlement that I've made still is Abernathyville. I really like that one. I like how it turned out. And plus, it's my only actually completed, like absolutely finished, tour recorded and uploaded and everything settlement so far. I've got a lot of settlements that aren't finished all the way because they're not decorated, and decorating is extremely time consuming. And now I tried to put a little roof piece back here, but it wouldn't work, and I tried other roof pieces too, but none of them would work, and I just figured out, whatever, I don't care. I didn't want to have to take the roof down, attach a roof piece, and put the whole roof back up, so that's what I would have had to do to get it to fit in there, and I just didn't want to bother. So now I'm going to be putting posts all along here, and yeah, it's going to be repetitive, so I'm going to do Q&A. And hopefully you guys don't mind the repetitiveness. I could have edited it out, but that would have left us with less time to do Q&A, so let me know if I should have edited it out anyways, and just skip the Q&A. Anyways, so yeah, my favorite settlement so far is Abernathyville, and partly because I actually finished it, but also because I just like the style of it. I like the look of it, and I did the whole thing without mods, so I think that also adds a little bit of a cool factor to it. It's completely vanilla, and I don't know, I just felt really accomplished when I finished that one. Now my other ones, you may be wondering why my other ones aren't finished, and a lot of people do. A lot of people are always asking me, when is Vault 88 going to be finished and all that, and it's because they're not decorated yet, and decorating is extremely time consuming, especially when you do it the way I like to do it, which is really realistic, lots of clutter, so it takes a lot longer to do than just throwing down a few things, which is why I've been decorating this build as I go. You probably noticed that after each episode I do a little bit of decorating, and so then next episode I show off what I've decorated. It's not fully decorated. I do still have to go back and add a few things here and there, but it will definitely save me time in the end. I'll be able to do the tour a lot sooner after I finish building this base than I would have if I had saved all the decorating for last. Now the reason I saved all the decorating for last in the past, like with Abernathyville and my other builds that I haven't finished yet, is because I made them before I had the OC Decorator mod, where you could put junk out through the workshop so then it doesn't tip over, it doesn't fall through the floor, and all that kind of thing. And I had to place everything by hand. Okay? So there is... Did you see that? That pile of rubble is floating. Did you notice that? It's annoying. How in the world Bethesda missed that? I don't know. Anyway. It's annoying. It makes it difficult because then I can't place down items right here because they will float. Because there's that invisible little, yeah, hill right there. It's annoying. So I have to glitch them in and, ugh. Anyway, so now I'm going to be putting some rugs down here. Just, sort of outdoor market kind of thing where they have rugs down to control the dirt and the dust instead of wood floors. Yeah, just thought it might be different and interesting. So that's what I'm going to be doing now. So anyway, getting back to what I was saying, that the old-fashioned way is to just place things by hand, right? And that works as long as your settlement is very small. Things probably won't fall through the shelves or through the floors if your settlement stays small. But when you get a really huge settlement, like Abernathyville was huge, and it hit my frame rate so hard. And when that happens, it takes a lot longer for items to load. And the smaller the item, the quicker it would load in. So that meant that all the junk would load first, and then all the shelves would load after that. Well, guess what happens when that happens, right? Your junk loads, but there's no shelf there for it to set on, and so it all falls to the ground, and then your shelves and your buildings load. That's why things fall to the ground, by the way. That's how the physics work. Anyway, so in order to build up the Abernathyville settlement and actually decorate it, because I was decorating as I went, but every time I came back or I had to go out and buy shipments of supplies or whatever, I would come back and all my junk would be on the ground. So I just stopped decorating it, and I decided to wait until it was completely done. Decorate it all the way through. Don't leave the settlement. Just decorate it without going anywhere, and then record the tour, and after that everything can fall to the ground as much as it wanted, and I wouldn't care, and I could go off and build a different settlement somewhere else. That's why I used to wait until the very last minute. But I don't have to do that anymore. Now that we have OC Decorator for PS4, I can decorate as I go and things stay put, and it's awesome, and it saves me a lot of time too. Having to replace everything all the time is, well, not fun. Anyways, so the next question is, which settlement was the most difficult one for you to make, and why? Well, I would have to say Vault 88, because it was Vault 88. And if anyone of you has ever built Vault 88 before, you know what I'm talking about. That was the most frustrating build I'd ever done, and just because of the way the vault pieces were designed and the lack of thought put into it and stuff like that. Yeah, go watch my Vault 88 build and you'll see why I was extremely frustrated with that one. Anyway, that was my most difficult one to build. So, because the ground is uneven back here, everything that I place back there, I have to use a post to sink it down a little bit so that it's not floating. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that kind of thing through pretty much the rest of the episode. So we got the basic building done. I mean, that was just all the building was going to be. Now I just need to place the stuff in there. And the stuff is what's going to make it look cool, huh? The placement of the stuff. Make it look like a cluttered outdoor kind of open air market kind of thing. So, sorry if it's a little bit boring and not very creative, but sometimes there's certain builds that are just like that, you know? They're not particularly innovative. They're just, I don't know, placing junk in the right, you know, locations really makes it. and actually that leads into another of the Q&A questions, which is, I figured I'd just go ahead and read this one since I'm on the subject, kind of. If you had to give one advice, or 3 tops, on what make settlements look more realistic and like they belong in the world, what would it be? And I would have to say probably one of the main things that makes a settlement look realistic is your placement of junk. And this build will be a good example because, well, this one is specifically because of all of the junk that's going to be here. If you just think about, I mean, take a look at your house right now and look at all the stuff you have sitting around. I'm pretty sure you have some stuff sitting around, right? And see how it's arranged. Unless you are a complete OCD neat freak, you probably got clutter, you probably have things out of place, You might have some clothes draped somewhere, your shoes on the floor, you know, whatever. You've got, you know, your lunch plate sitting on your desk, whatever. You know, there's stuff around, and everything isn't in a perfectly neat place. And also, you've probably got more stuff than you really need. Most people anyway, I mean, there are some weird exceptions, but most people tend to collect things they don't need. We place sentiment on objects even if it's not useful to us. We just like to have things and look at things. And so you've got stuff like that, and everybody through all of time has had some kind of thing like that. True, in today's modern age, we have way more of it than we did hundreds of years ago, but even hundreds of years ago, people had trinkets or items that they just liked, and it didn't necessarily serve a purpose to them, but they just liked it. And I think that in a post-apocalyptic world, that would still hold true. And maybe even more so, because items are so... like, to have a nice thing in a world such as Fallout 4 would be pretty rare. And so when you find an item, you'd want to keep it. You know, it's not like you can just go to the store and buy it whenever you want. If you find it laying around somewhere, you'll be like, ooh, that's kind of cool. I'll keep that. Maybe it'll be useful someday. And so I always feel like these people are probably frequently just collecting things. Even if it doesn't serve a purpose at the moment, they think maybe someday I might use that. And so stuff will accumulate. And so that's what I like to do. I like to decorate my areas, the things that I build, to look lived in. And like people actually live there. And each house that I build for an NPC will be unique. While I'm building it, while I'm decorating it, I'll think of what's the person like who lives here, and what are their interests, what do they do, what kinds of things would they have sitting around, and I would decorate accordingly. So, I know this is kind of a spoiler for my vault build, but I decorated each of the vault quarters for my settlers completely different based on their interests and the way they live their lives. And I know it's kind of coming a little soon because I don't know when my vault build will be finished. I'm actually thinking I might just not finish it and just do the tour, because seriously, it's been so long since I actually finished building the vault that I'm kind of sick of it, and I don't really want to even go in there anymore. So I just want to be done with my vault. I might just do a tour, even though it's not completely finished decorating. I do have all the quarters decorated. I have the atrium and all the stores decorated. I just don't have, like, the armory and stuff like that completely decorated, so there will be some bare areas, but I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Would you want me to wait and finish Vault 88 all the way, and who knows when that will be? Or should I just go ahead and record the tour and call it good enough? It's taken so long just because Vault 88 is so huge. It's the biggest settlement I've ever made, and yeah. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about that, because I would totally just record the tour right now. Anyway, I started realizing that it was just kind of dark in there, and every time I backed up to see things from the wider angle, I couldn't see things because it was too dark and my Pip-Boy light doesn't reach that far, so I'm going to string up some lighting here. And I just realized that that conduit is floating. The collision next to the rock ceiling is quite far from the actual rock in that spot, so that was annoying. So I just need to find a different place to put it. Like, right there, I guess. Yeah. Except I couldn't, activate it for some reason. I thought maybe I was too far away, so I was like trying to jump up there and to get closer, but then I thought maybe, well, it's because the wire glitch is still, I mean, it's not active anymore, but it sort of is. So I have to cancel the wire glitch there. But it still isn't letting me activate it. Don't know why. Sometimes when you place a conduit, it like becomes static for some reason, and you have to just leave it there. You can't grab it ever again. It's annoying, but don't know why it does that. All right, there we go. And now some lights. So, anyway, that's one thing. My advice is make your settlements as cluttered as you can. And I know that that was really hard to do before the OC Decorator mod came out, but now you can do it. Unfortunately, the downside of using OC Decorator is that every single item that you place, like decoration items, like plates and cups and stuff, is added to your build limit. Whereas before, if you just place it by hand, or just in workshop mode too, it's not added to your build limit because it's not something that you're building. You brought it in from, dropped it out of your inventory and then placed it, and so it doesn't count towards your build limit. So that's unfortunate. That means that you have to increase your build limit a lot, which also increases the size of your settlement, even though you might not have as many buildings, but your build limit is still getting filled up. So that is one downside to using OC Decorator. But I think that the pros of using OC Decorator are much higher than the cons. So anyways. So another piece of advice to make settlements look more realistic is, well, for one thing, people in general want to live in secure structures. People want to live, you know, whether or not they can isn't the point. People want to live with a decent roof over their heads and 4 walls to protect them from the elements. So, if somebody could build their own house and they had access to the appropriate, you know, building materials, they would build the best house they possibly could with the materials they have on hand and their skill level, right? So that's what I keep in mind when I'm building. Sure, you can make it look scrappy, but it still has to be solid and it still has to look realistic. Would somebody live in a house that has a hole in the roof right over their bed? No. They'd put a patch over that hole. Okay? Would somebody go out and find a big huge piece of sheet metal that has a giant hole in it and use it as a wall and then just leave the hole there? No. I don't even touch the pieces in the build menu that have holes in them because it's not realistic, people. It is not. It might look scrappy, but it looks unrealistic too. So you can have it scrappy and still be solid. And that's what I like. I like scrappy but solid. And so that's another thing. I notice a lot of people use those holes in the roof ones and stuff like that. It's like, why? Why would somebody use that? Why would somebody build a roof with a hole in it? And if you think about it, one of those like barn roof pieces, okay, so I imagine how they scrapped a barn to get those pieces. They had to go up there to the roof and take off each board individually. They don't take off the giant section that we actually use, right? With the gutter and the eave and the rafters and all that. They can't take all that off in one huge piece, realistically, and move it to the settlement where they want to build. They have to take it off into individual pieces and then reassemble it. Why would they save the parts that had holes in them? and reassemble it with a hole in it. It doesn't make any sense. So that's another thing that I refuse to use, is those pieces, and I think it makes it look more realistic if you make it solid, even if it's scrappy. Yeah, anyway. I was having trouble with this dresser, as you can see. It wasn't letting me sink it into the ground for some reason. It won't go down. It's just sitting on top. I don't know why. It was it was from the mod, the USO mod. For some reason, the one added by the USO mod can't be sunk. I'm not sure why, but anyway, I'm using the vanilla one now. So, although it won't let me select it from the front, so I have to select it from the side, which is just kind of annoying. But see, the vanilla one you can sink. I don't know what's wrong with the USO one, if it's a different kind of dresser. Because I'm not sure actually even why it was added by USO, because there's already a vanilla one, so does the USO one have a different function? I never noticed. But if anybody knows, I would like to know. Maybe Andrew knows, I don't know. Andrew, if you're watching this, why does your dresser not sink into the ground? What's up with that, huh? Anyway, you guys. So, hopefully that answered your question about the advice for making builds look more realistic. Oh, one other one, since you said 3 tops. I'll just tell you one more. If there's an overhang, put a support underneath it. Seriously, maybe that might even be the most important one. If there's an overhang, it's gotta have a support. Ugh, nothing's worse than floating balconies and stairs. Nothing is worse than that. And there's really no excuse now that we have posts. Posts aplenty. And if a post doesn't work, use a fence post. I like using fence posts a lot. And you can glitch 2 fence posts, one on top of the other, to make them into one tall post. I do that sometimes to make like porch posts and stuff. When the white barn posts and stuff don't want to go where I want them, because sometimes they want to snap on in weird places and it's just a big pain in the neck, so sometimes I use fence posts instead. That barrel, did you see that? The invisible hill that was right there? And so I had to use a post to get this barrel in. It's so frustrating. Anyway. Anyway, the next question is, do you think it would have been cool to be able to make a settlement at University Point, as there was a settlement there? I guess. I don't particularly like University Point, mostly because the entire thing is on a hill. It's like the ground, kind of like the entire settlement's starting to slide into the ocean. Like, you know, because the university is like half in the water, and the whole thing is like the ground there just started sinking into the ocean. And so the only way I would actually want to have a settlement at University Point is if I could scrap every single building that already exists there, all the scrappy looking ones that the settlers made. That's the only way I would want to build there, because all of those buildings are tilted and falling into the ocean, and so they wouldn't be very usable. It would be very hard to put furniture in them because all the floors are slanted. So yeah, but it's cool as a settlement location since it's surrounded by those buildings and stuff. It has a natural wall around it already, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, I definitely want to be able to scrap every single building there. Not the pre-war buildings, the settler-built buildings. So here I am not going to use this countertop because it doesn't really match the rest of the market area. So I'm just using it as height reference right now. I'm going to use crates instead for a counter. So the person who runs this market can stand at the crates. And I just wanted to make sure they were the right height. And they are! So, you know, for the store person animation to work, it sort of needs to be the right height, or they will be when they lean on the counter, the store person leans on the counter, or they wipe it with a rag. If it's not the right height, like if you put them at a table instead, they'll lean on midair, like a few inches above the table. It looks dumb. Anyway. So, yeah. I was trying to see if I could extend it a little bit, because I wanted to put a cash register there, but then the store person wouldn't be able to get behind it because it would be blocked. Anyway, I figured maybe he doesn't need a cash register. It's fine. So, so now a few more little things. Now I'm using the decorations tab to get all the little crates and barrels and baskets and stuff. Put some produce in these baskets and stuff like that. So the next question on my list is, what was the most interesting or best settlement you saw online and why? Whoa, that's going to be a hard one to answer. Well, I don't watch a lot of settlement builds myself because I just don't have time. Yeah, it's strictly a time issue. I used to in the past, and so it's going to be difficult for me to remember them, but the ones that stuck out the most are the ones that Evil Viking 13 made, and probably some of you have heard of him. He builds awesome realistic settlements. He uses lots of mods, and I used to watch him back before I had access to mods just to see what you could do with mods, you know? And so, yeah, his settlement builds are just really cool, and I'm not sure if there's a specific one that I liked the most. I don't know. I liked his General's House one. I'll leave a link in the description. I'll try to anyway. If it's not down there, it just means I forgot. So if it's not down there, let me know. Anyway. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So go check out the video. So anyway, I think that's gonna do it for now, you guys. I'm gonna decorate it between episodes. So next episode, there'll be some more decorations, like items for sale and stuff on the shelves and tables. And so what do you think? Huh? Yeah, it's simple, but I don't know. I think it just adds a lot to the marketplace, to the market area. It makes it look a little bit more markety, a little more complete. So what do you think? Leave me comments down below. I kind of like how it turned out and how I used that hill back there to store all the junk on it. And I don't know, I like it. Yeah. The market area is starting to look more complete now. Maybe I should start working on the residential area next time. I don't know what else I can put in here. Give me some ideas, you guys. I'd love to have ideas for what else I could put in here. But for now, I think I'm going to call this episode good. And I only have one more question to read, but I don't have time to answer it. Oh, you know what? I need to put a post right there. I just noticed that. Yeah, okay. I'll do that later. So, leave me more questions down below if you want to have Q&A in the next episode. And thank you to those of you who gave me questions for this episode. These fine people right here. Thank you. Give me more. And be sure to follow me on social media. The links for those are in the description below. And if you would like to support my channel and make it possible for me to create more videos like this more often, then consider supporting me on Patreon. So far, I've got several patrons on there, and you guys are awesome. You're making it possible for me to keep doing what I love doing here on YouTube. And so the link for that is in the description below too. So anyway, yeah, I'm done. I'm done with this one this time. I mean, you know, next Monday I'll have another one. So yeah, we're not done with the build, obviously, but we're done with this episode. So you guys, I will see you later, and remember, play safe, play nice, and have fun. Bye.